really? Jesus can say that with a straight face? What man among you would go after that one sheep and leave the 99 behind? What woman would look for that lost coin? Maybe he knew that the woman wouldn't go after the sheep and the man would. No. And the man, not the coin. Maybe we would. If there were two sheep and if they were stuck on the New York subway. You heard that story, right, about the cats? They shut the subway down for 2 hours to find those cats, and they did. Not only does Jesus say they're going to go out and search for the sheep or the coin, but then when they find it, they're going to be so happy, they're going to throw a party, waste all that money celebrating a sheep or a coin. How much was that coin? I mean, what kind of sheep was that? And remember, Jesus is really talking about sinners. He says that pretty explicitly. Because it's the Pharisees and scribes that prompt these stories. We have them to blame for these stories. And they say, how could you be with sinners? How could you eat with sinners? So speaking of sinners, raise your hand. Who among you would go out and look for Walter White? Now, who knows who Walter White is? Raise your hand. Okay, and still none of you would go search for him. Walter White is a fictional, televisional, meek high school chemistry teacher turned, when he finds out that he's dying of cancer, turned meth cooker and ultimately big meth kingpin, so that he can provide for his family before he dies. And those of us who love and hate Walter White have been on pins and needles all week, because ever since last Sunday night, he's been in the middle of a shootout. Ever since then. And he's only got 3 more episodes left before we find out if he's going to get his just desserts. So nobody would go looking for Walter White. Maybe then you could have a few more episodes, right, or another season. There's moving to real life. I must have been on the Daily Show or something where I saw a clip on some legit TV news show where some commentator was saying just terrible things about this guy who kidnapped the 3 girls and had them for years, and something like, yeah, he should just fry and this and that. And then I think about how the cavalier way that we might want to say, oh yeah, not only should we bomb Assyria, let's bomb Assad, not thinking about the 99 others who would be killed with him, right, in a bomb. Civilians, perhaps, even. What about moving more to our real lives? What about if we were at a family reunion and the crazy uncle or the crazy aunt or the cousin or even brother or sister that we really don't like, maybe even that we have a big resentment towards, or that our parents have taught us over the years not to like, if they didn't show up, but the 99 others did, would you go and leave the party and go search for that one person? What about St. Paul? How many would, raise your hand, how many would save St. Paul? Just a couple of you? Okay, really. But St. Paul, remember, and he reminds us, in case we forget, because it's easy to forget, that he was the foremost, he says, of sinners. Remember, he was the one who was out killing the early followers of Jesus. I'm not sure Walter White had anything on St. Paul. So, whether or not we would go out, whether or not really, truly that shepherd would go look for that sheep, if that woman really, would she go look for that lost coin like that? We get this great gospel story where the father runs out eagerly, passionately to meet his lost sinner of a son. Barely lets the son get his apology out of his mouth, doesn't even acknowledge really the apology, and just says, okay, let's get ready for a party. And put on the robe, put on the ring, slaughter the fattened calf, not the sheep. He had just gone out and gotten that sheep. And of course, this father is how God is in our lives. And the older son is so upset at this joy. You know, I've done everything. I've been here for you and with you. And you've never even given me a young goat to party with my friends. Jesus says, He says, there will be more joy in heaven over one repentant sinner than 99 who have no need of repentance. Now, does that sound fair? For God to rejoice more over a repentant sinner? Let's say if one of these sinners I talked about, including Walter White, repented, there'd be more rejoicing in heaven over him than over us, righteous ones. It's not fair. And thank God we're not the older son. Thank God we're not the righteous ones. Thank God we're all sinners.